topics on physical design of the standard ASIC flow. So, okay, based on my work experience, I have covered a few topics to communicate with you all. It will be covering what are the steps involved in physical design and few issues that I had faced during the flow. And whatever I'll be discussing will be based on the block level. That is, in our whole SOC, that is the whole system on chip. It will be partitioning it, and each engineer will be working on a separate block. So the discussions will be based on this block level, and only digital blocks are involved. Like we are not going to see any analog blocks. Okay, and the focus will be on only physical design. So just a request, let me know if any of the screen on my voice was inaudible. Okay. Okay. um, why? Okay. So this is our short agenda. Like we'll be seeing where is physical design in our standard ASIC flow, the praise and route cycle, and what are the basic requirements we need to start a PNR. And I've covered some PNR steps till placement. Uh, After that, mostly I haven't faced much issues, so I have just skipped that part, and I have added few scenarios that I had faced, like issues. Okay. Now, we all know this standard physical design flow, where once we get the concept or idea from the market, like what is the chip we need for. Once we get that idea, what we'll do, there will be an design team working on the architectural specs. So who will be doing the RTL coding and simulation? So RTL here means that register transfer level, which is which means whatever the digital circuit that we are going to put in our chip is will be modeled in terms of a register and the data flow between this register meaning that is the flip-flops of memories, and the data flow between this register and the combinational circuit, where the actual logic is performed, like and or anything, like all our standard logics. So why do we term it as register transfer? Because at this level, we'll be basically focusing on the flow of signal between the registers. So our design starts here, like RTL coding, and this will be more like our programming language, like how we use in our C or C++, like if then else and the basic arithmetic operations only will be there. So once this code is ready, we'll be providing it to the logical synthesis. By synthesis, what do we mean? It's normally combining into a group, which means uh, the RTL code, we are making the RTL code to be more into an hardware understandable form. That is, we will synthesize it into a gate level netlist, where we'll have the exact connection between and or the registers and the standard cells, the wire description, everything will be there. So the synthesis team will be working in parallel with the DFT team, which means the DFT team, the design for test team, will be inserting the scan registers to our design, which is useful to test the flop once it is fabricated. So the design team, then the logical synthesis team, and DFT team will be working together, and they'll be providing the gate level netlist to the physical design team. So there comes our part where we'll be doing the usual floor plan, the power plan, placements, the clock tree synthesis, routing, and the final fill. So once the physical design is complete, we will be doing whether whatever we implemented is intact with respect to area, power, and timing. So we'll be doing a physical verification, and then we'll do the sign off. Then it goes after this. Our data will be a output will be a graphical data stream, which we provided to the fab. Then they'll do the fabrication, then packaging, testing, and the final chip. So so that's what physical design is, normally transforming that gate level netlist to a manufacturable GDS. That means the graphical data stream, more like a stick diagram. That whole graphical data is saved in form of a binary file, and it is provided as an output. So often we refer this PNR as a place and route, or automatic place and route, or the layout team. I mean, that's how we term it. So when it comes to import design, like the very first stage, is to get all the inputs and make it ready for our PNR flow. So the very first input will be our technology left, which means uh, our in a VLSI, the technology is the one we call it, the gate length we call the technology, right? So based on that fabrication process, the fabs foundries will be defining how many metal layers that particular process can have, and the properties of each metal layer, like their width, length, their resistance value, their capacitance value, and the manufacturing grid that a particular process can have. Here the manufacturing grid means the lowest size that particular technology can manufacture. So all these details will be there in this technology left. Then comes our physical libraries. That is dot, we term it as dot left. Left meant for library exchange format. By physical library, we mean we will be using this standard cells. By standard cell, I am referring all our logic gates only, basic logic gates. All this we cannot keep on fabricating, I mean doing that from the scratch each time. So what we will do, we will be including that as a in our libraries, and we'll be using it in the design. Okay, so they will be having some pins like input, output, and this left is the abstract view of that cell. Like it will be having, this file will be having the pin positions and what are all the metal layers used in the standard libraries, like that. It is called physical library. um, then comes the timing libraries of the standard cells. Timing library means we have to know how that particular cell behaves. For example, if I'm giving the input with this much transition, and I'm going to drive this much amount of load, then how much my cell is going to take, how much delay my cell is going to take. These kind of details will be available in the timing library. So physical library just has the pin positions, metal layers, whereas the timing library will have the details of, it's basically the timing model of that cell, like how much delay it's going to consume, what is the transition it can take, and if this much transition comes, how much delay it's going to give. All those details will be there. Then comes our synthesized netlist. Just one confirmation, my presentation is, whatever is shown is going along with what I say, right? Ilangun, can you please
Yes.
confirm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then comes the synthesized netlist, which means we saw, right, the RTL, the initial register transfer level, is being converted into the synthesized netlist. That is the gate level netlist. That is the major input where we have the logic connection. Actually, as a PD team members, we will not be knowing much detail on the architecture or what. but this is the netlist which has the connection details, everything, the even the wires, everything will be defined in that. I guess we can differentiate between that RTL and synthesized netlist. And yeah, then the constraint files means, normally the constraint, what do we mean by constraint? It's a restriction. So while manufacturing the chip, there are some restrictions. Okay, my chip can only consume this much power, or it can take only this much area, it can work only in this much of frequency. So all this will be giving us a constraints to the as an input. There will be defining the timing constraint file. Say for example, will be having the clock detail. Say my clock has this much clock period, this much only the input delay can have, this much only the output delay value can be. All these details will be there in the constraint files. And comes the okay, these are all optional ones, we won't be having for all our blocks. But power intent meaning, say for example, there will be some blocks which will be having a low power application, which means so one of the low power technique is that we divide the cell into domains, like power domains. Some cells will be required to power on always it should be on, whereas some portion which is needed only for particular time can be turned off if they are not needed. Okay. Yeah. So for that kind of cells, what we will do, we will be giving the power detail. The say for example, we call it as power factor file. So that will be having when the details on when this domain should turn on or turn off, and when the power switches should be supplying power to the cells. Those details will be given in the power intent. FP, I mean, here meant is a floor plan detail, which we'll be seeing later. Then scanf is our scan chain related details will be there. All these are optional. Based on our requirement, it will be used in our design. So these are all the basic inputs that we need while starting the physical design flow. Okay, and yeah, so these are all the same thing what we have seen till now. Yeah. So here is the actual work starts. Like once we do import design, what are all the things we need to check? So obviously, first thing we need to do is whether all our inputs are read properly without any error. Say for many times it happens to us like the power intent file will not be read proper. There may be changes. If we ignore that, later on in the power planning stages and all, there will be a problem. So first thing is we should check that. And the timing pure quality of report. That is, once the synthesis is completed, uh, the synthesis tool itself, by synthesis I mean whatever the RTL to scan chain combinedly the team is doing, right? That one, they will also be dumping one timing report. And once that is provided as input, we there will be a timing report generated at our layout PNR tool also. So we should be comparing that and see whether the correlation is proper. Say, for example, if you find too much deviation, the worst negative slack and total negative slacks are too bad, then there is no point in continuing the PNR. There could be, in the synthesis tool will do logic optimization also. So we can get back to them saying, okay, can you do a better synthesis gate list, gate level nest list? But this is not an usual scenario, but we need to have a check on the correlation between the synthesis and our layout tool. And we need to see for any floating ports are there. The input ports, right? Some ports will be left floating intentional, so that the designer would have left kept it for later use. Right now, I'm not able to develop the logic for that, but later in my further usage, I'll make use of that port. Like that, he would have left some port intentionally. All these things we should get confirmed from them. So, as a PD team, we will be communicating with the design team, the synthesis team, and the DFT team for any of these confirmations or problems that we face in the initial setup. So once all these inputs are fine and okay, then we will go for the floor planning. So this is the main step in our physical design. Having a better floor plan only will uh, make our further steps easier, like whatever we do, placement or CTS or routing, anything depends on the floor plan. So having a good floor plan in is much essential in PD. So what are all things we need to see for yeah. So basically, it is we should see the utilization of the cell, like utilization in the sense available logic standard cells or mac. Here, I'll be often using the term macro, which means the we term it the intellectual IPs. That is, some logics will be reusable. We cannot keep like standard cells. Say for example, I'm saying if it is an adder, we need not go and recreate one adder circuit again and again. So all those kind of reusable logics will be developed as a IP by some IP vendors, and they will be providing it, so we can take that. So including the macros and the standard cells, how much is my area utilized, that data and all, the tool will be dumping those data. So it should be somewhere around less than 100%. Like how much ever less we have, it's good. If we say, for example, 100 percentage of our area is used, then what will happen later on in our optimization stages? We will not be able to include anything. So in that case, we must go and improve the area, or we can see if we can improve the logics and reduce the utilization. Like that, we should check the utilization first, and then we should understand how the data flows between our each and every logic groups in our design. It will make us easier to place the macros. So by macros, I mean that reusable IPs. So there are some rules, I mean some good practices, BOKs, if we follow, it will be good for our floor plan. Is my paint visible?
Yeah, it is visible. It's visible.
Okay. So, for example, this is our block. Okay. And we have some ports here, and these things we will get from our top team. For example, they will be whoever is doing the top partitioning, right? They will be providing this information. Based on that, we should be placing our pins in our blocks. Okay, say we got it and it is something like this, and we shouldn't be placing the macros by blocking those pins. Otherwise, what will happen, the routing, it will be tough to route here. Okay, and even in the macro dominant block where there is a much number of macros, we should make sure to leave space for this pins. Okay, and then it is good to place your macros over the boundaries. Like in all these boundaries, they call it as a donut shape, and good to leave this core area for our standard cell placement. And um, this for placing these macros also, there are rules, like which is with respect to technology, it varies. So this distance and this how much distance we can have with respect to the boundary. All those we should follow while we are doing the floor planning. This spacing should be larger enough that our there will be power stripes going along like this. Okay, VDD and VSS stripes. Okay, if you don't have enough space for this power strap to be, and even those power straps will be having some rules. If you don't give enough spaces, it will not be able to put the power strap properly here, and wherever there is a space, then the tool will try and place some standard cells here. What will happen? There are standard cells and there are no power straps. This won't be getting a power. And finally, when we are doing the IR drop check, these will fail, saying, okay, this group of standard cells are not having power connectivity like that. So these are few issues we faced, and then they come up with the rule. Okay, give this much distance between the macros like that. And then while doing the floor planning, all these things should be considered. And and one more thing, say for example, I'm placing the there will be pins in the macros. We should be taking care to keep which direction that pins are faced. If every pins are faced towards the core, it is better. If you place one more macro which is also having the pins here, then what will do here, too much of congestion will happen. Why we are saying okay, congestion is always bad? Because routing is done by our routing resource, the number of resources available to the number of resource which is needed. Okay, I need 10 routing resource, I have only 5 routing resource there, then at that time what will happen, it will try to somehow dump it there and it will end up in shorts. So if you want a short free design, we should be taking care from the stage itself. Then uh, then one more point is like macros should be placed as per the hierarchy. Hierarchy in the sense every design will be written in a hierarchical model. Say when the synthesis netlist itself, it will be having a top name, and say for example top block name, then could be the DFT wrapper, and then comes, if you want to relate it, you can relate it to, say for example, this is a mobile phone model, then this hierarchy could be related to camera, and this hierarchy 1B could be related to an Ethernet port or something like that. So like that, they will be writing the logics in a hierarchy, and it will only the elements belonging to this hierarchy will talk among themselves. These two won't communicate. So what will happen, if you, while placing the blocks, you should be placing the similar hierarchies closer. And actually this has happened, they didn't understand the data flow properly and the hierarchical flow properly, and they have we have mixed the hierarchies. So what the tool was doing, this one hierarchical block was placed here and another was here also we mixed it. So what will happen, these two should communicate. While trying to communicate, when the routing goes long, the tool will try to place too much of buffer in order to reduce the transition value. In longer nets, what will happen, the signal will tend to become weak. That time the tool will the route optimization stage, it will try to place too much buffers, and in that case this will all end up in the increasing the delay. So like that, instead if I place this here, all the logics related to it will be placed nearby, and there won't be problem in timing or this extra routing resource, all those will not happen. This is one thing actually happened, and then we came back to the floor plan stage and we modified everything, and then it was fine. So these are some basic guidelines which we need to take care while doing the floor plan. And locate, while we should be placing our pins based on the communication from top. For example, the top will be communicating in one manner. If it is a top block and they did a partition, and this is one block, this one, once each blocks will be done by one engineers, and top only will be knowing these two are communicating. So this B2 pins which are communicating to B3 should be placed this side and like this. All this, that while placing the pins, we should be communicating, doing it as per the top communication. And yeah, placement routing blockages and placement blockages should be placed in the floor plan stage itself. Say there are pins here. Placement blockage, first, what are they means? We have an option so that we will tell the tool, okay, don't place the cells here in this area. Already there are pins, there will be so much routing coming out from this area. Please don't go and place the cells also here. Like that, we will give some blockage there. Those are virtual. Ideally, we are not going to fabricate it. Just we are making the tool to understand, not to place anything. We will be using the blockages around each and every macro. There will be one mesh type of blockage placed, so that otherwise what it will do, it will go and place all the standard cells nearby. Then macro communication and the standard cell communication, everything will be congested. So all this should be taken care in the placement stage itself. Sorry, floor plan stage itself. Yeah. Okay. This is the hierarchy that was there, I was telling. And yeah, once this floor plan is done, then comes our power planning and pre-placement. So I normally the power planning was automated, so I didn't face much issue in the power planning. So I haven't included much steps regarding that. But basically, this is the order where how we route the nets. First, power nets will be routed, then the clock tree nets will be routed, then the signal nets. When doing the power planning, the calculations will be done as per the voltage drop. So then what is the pre-placement? Before we go to place the actual standard cells, there are certain cells which needs to occupy the position in the floor plan. And those cells don't be they will not be having written out in the netlist, or they will not be even part of a timing path. Timing calculation also won't be done for those cells. We call those cells as those cells are called physical only cells. Those should be placed well before the placement of standard cells. Okay, and yeah, so for some, these are some of the physical only cells. For example, the boundary cells or the end cap cells. So in our design, how we will place the cells, we will split it into row. I mean, there will be rows and columns, and our standard cells must be exactly fitting on those rows. So we place these boundary cells at the corners, and if there is any macro or any voltage domain or any power domain or any special cells around that, we should be placing that. Why? Because uh, while doing abetting or when in doing during the manufacture and all, this boundary cells will protect the design from getting affected, and also it helps in some DRC violation fixes. So though they don't have any logic, it's just for to overcome this DRC issues. We'll be placing that. And the well tap cells. Well tap cells. I think we'll be studying about the latch up problem in CMOS, right? Like CMOS internally forms many NPN transistors, which will be interacting within them, and which they form a parasitic NPN and PNP transistors within them, and they interact within each other, and they be forming an low impedance path, so that the power and rail, the ground will tend to short. So what we'll do there, we will be placing this well tap cells where N well will be tapped to VDD, and the substrate will be tapped to ground. So in our design, we will be placing it in our in a, in some for a in the design. If it is there, there will be these rows, or we can enable it. At the end, there will be boundary, and there will be tap cells with some distance. And okay, now why are we placing it even before the standard cell placements? Standard cell placement will be done by the placement engine, and it will be placing the cells all over. So at that time, after that, we cannot go and get room for all this physical only cells. That's why we do it in prior. And these are also spare cells, tie cells, decap cells, all these. Spare cells, okay. What are spare cells means? Once the chip is fabricated, okay, then there comes a requirement like a functionality change. I need to add the small amount of functionality. At that time, I can't go and rip, so I can't go and touch so much things. Because all this mask, everything is costly, right? So at that time, we are going to utilize these spare cells. In the design, they will be just placed, and their input will be connected to either VDD or VSS, and the output is it will be left open. Normally, why we do that way? Because if you leave the input open, then there are chances of some signals getting interfered, and that may unnecessarily create some noise. I mean, create some noise and issue. So normally we tie that inputs to VDD or ground, and then the output will be left floating. This cell later stage can be connected to the required signals based on our functionality, and they can be used. And tie cells. Okay, tie cells. Like now we said, right, there will be chances where we need to leave some inputs unused. At that time, we will be not directly connecting it to the VDD or VSS trap, but we will be connecting it through this tie cell, and then we will be connecting. Because always, right, this gate oxide layers are very sensitive. It cannot withstand so much of voltage fluctuations. So to overcome those issues, we make use of the tie cells. Then the decap cells. Decap cells will be placed on where there is a power hungry cells are there. Say we have the old VDD and VSS traps, and due to many reasons, those traps will not be able to supply the required voltage to all the cells at the time. Sometimes due to that, there will be voltage drops if the cells were placed too far, or because of some reasons. So at that time, what they'll do, if suddenly it draws too much power at a time, say there is a sudden surge and so much of cells are drawing power immediately, then it can't provide the required value immediately. So to cope up at that time, these decap cells are placed. There is nothing but some two capacitors placed between the VDD and ground. So whenever there is a need, these capacitors will discharge and give the power, and normal time it will get charged up. These are these cells. We should decide the location of these cells already, and we should place it. And yeah, this is a power switch. I was telling, right, there will be some switchable domains. how we can switch on or off a domain inside it. So there will be a separate logic like power switch controller, and which will be having which will be controlling all these power switches. So whenever we say there is a signal to turn on these power switches, so the power switch will get the input from VDD and it will give a secondary VDD which will be powering up the cells. So whenever we turn on, SVDD will power up and it will supply the cells. Otherwise, it will be turned off and those cells will not be functioning. So these cells also should be placed all over the design initially itself. All this once we do our floor plan and the power planning and we have done the pre-placed cells also, now we are ready to do the standard cell placements. Actually, all this will be done by the algorithm and the scripts only. But we should be knowing this to debug if any issues come up. Say if sometimes um, there will be an issue saying every stage the reports will be dumped. Okay, and the percentage of decap cells are available is not proper, or there is like that. If there is an issue, then we should be able to attend that issue, like why it's been reduced or what is the reason. Like that we can debug easily and do it. Power switches also, mostly there won't be any issues related to it, but um, like how in the initial floor plan stage I said, if you miss any strap and the whole power connection is not missed, then the output will be blocked and we'll be seeing so much of voltage sorry, opens in the circuit. So all the connections to the power switches should be proper. Then the placement. So now it is all the standard cell placements are done here. So what we do in placement? We are optimizing our design with respect to timing, power, and area. So there are options to optimally place the standard cells. Optimally in the sense, uh, so that the block will meet timing. So how do we do that? First option is the creating path groups. So normally our design will be having logics like this only. Say it might have input port. From there it will be going to a register and the combinational logic. From again it might go to a macro or so, like this. So many paths will be there in a number of paths will be there in the design. So they are segregating all these paths into some basic path groups first. That is called as a path group. For example, all the paths which coming from the input to the input of the register is called input to register path, and whichever is communicating between the register to register, clock to the deep pin path is called register to register, and from the register to output path, and directly there will be some paths which are not going to any of the logic, and from the input to the output, those are into input to output paths. So we can tell the tool, okay, for in my design, for example, uh, some of my register to register paths are not converging itself, uh, not converging in the sense timing wise. uh, I think so based on the constraint, the data should travel from this flop to this flop in a particular time. Okay, if it is not happening, there will be a static timing analysis done. There will be a combinational circuit here, everything. So after passing through all this, if it will keep on adding the delay of the cells, the delay one, the combinational delay, and the clock signal. From the time the clock has triggered to the data have reached here, there will be constraint. Okay, say for example, it should reach in 1.1 nanosecond. Somehow it is some delay is happening here, and my data is reaching only at 1.2 ns. Then it is said to be violating by zero point 0.1 nanosecond. It is violating. So, like this, many register to register paths are violating. Means what we'll do, we'll instruct the tool. Okay, for this register to register path, take the priority as high and give the more weightage like that. So the tool will optimize each pass. It will take n number of pass to optimize these paths. Pass 1, pass 2, like that. When it is going, every time it will give priority to register path. It doesn't mean it will ignore the other paths. It will give the less priority to input into reg or edge to out, like that. Uh, so this is one of the methods to get the better optimization. We are just instructing the tool to prioritize the paths. These are standard paths which the which any flow will use. Apart from that, say, so one path from your memory, that is macro, to one set of 100 registers keeps on failing. You tried all the options and you couldn't converge it. This is one method you can give. You can define your own path group. Okay, the paths from, I'm saying macro to 100, this M2 register paths, and I'm giving the high priority to that, and weightage also I'm giving. So based on that, the tool will work on these paths first, and it will help in timing. The tool also, what it will do, it will try to put some buffer for uh, improving the transition value. If it is too, if it is register is here and the um, macro is far away, then it will try to place this register close to this macro. Like this, it will take a number of pass, and it will end up in the finding an optimal position for the standard cells. Then the floor plan constraints is another option, which means we can we can instruct the tool to place the group of cells in certain region. Uh, for example, the same scenario we can take. There are input paths, input ports, and it is going to communicate to some thousand flops. If I let the tool to place, there are chances it might place it somewhere, prioritizing other paths, or based on my path group priority, it might work. So what I'll do, I'll manually create a constraint, I mean region. I'll give a boundary area. Okay, create a boundary area, and within this, all this 100,000 cells must be placed. Like that, I'll tell the tool initially itself. So this should be done before the standard cell placement. Yeah, so that's why if you run one pass of placement, you will know. Okay, these parts are failing. So I have to pull my this register. When I see in the tool, I'll see all the registers are going and sitting far away. Let me pull this registers close to the port. So then we can create this region, I mean floor plan constraints. In that also, the tool is giving us options: guide, region, and fence. If you define it as a guide, it's a looser constraint. What it will do, if the area is defined by giving the boundary box. Okay, every point in the tool can be taken as a v box.
Rubia, your voice is not audible. Rubia?
So in the optimization process, the tool will place the cells specified near the attractor. Whatever we do, whenever we do this, we should be doing this before the placement optimization begin. Placement optimization begin in the sense it's again a command which will start the place engine. So sorry, anything? No.
Now it's audible. Rubia, now it's
Uh,
audible. Ready to.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Okay, I think some network issue. Did I miss something? Was something missed? It's okay, right? I just proceed. Okay, and this is we can also do the optimization with the early clock flowing and VT usage. See, the clock uh, we we will be until the placement is done. The clock is considered as idle. That is, there is no delay value for the clock tree. That's how it will be. But if we are enabling this early clock flow, what the tool will identify at what time, if the clock comes, I'm going to meet this path. Like that, the tool will calculate, and it will be uh, writing out this delay and constraint to a file. And then when the CTS stages comes, it will be instructing the CTS engine, okay, you build the clock tree like this, then it will be helpful. So like that, this is called clock flow, is something which is normally done after placement. But if you are enabling this, we are making the tool to estimate and build the clock tree accordingly. Even in the CTA stage, we can enable this. There are options to do better clock tree, but this is one of the options to consider in the placement stage itself. Then, yeah, the okay, in the standard cells, there will be not one variant of an AND gate. If you take an AND gate, there will be multiple variants in there. Say low VT cell, high VT cell, like that. VT here is a threshold voltage that we all know. Threshold voltage means what? At the time, the voltage at which the transistor will turn on. So the lower the threshold voltage, the faster the transistor will turn off, right? Say for in the voltage which is trying to increase from 0 to say zero point 0.7, it will not raise immediately. There will be a transition. So if the transistor turns on in okay, mostly it will turn on after zero point 0.7 voltage only. If it, before it reaches 1, it's good that if it turns on in zero point 0.7 itself, right? The lower the threshold, before it could reach 1, if it turns on in zero point 0.7 itself, then it will be faster. It will be doing the functions faster. So uh, low VT cells will be faster. Whereas, uh, what is the relation if we have the VT low, then it will be directly increasing the threshold current, drain current, right? We can get this relation from our standard drain current. So it will be something related like this: ID VGS minus VT. So if it is low, uh, if this value is going to be higher, then this drain current is going to be higher. All these things should be, we would have studied. Based on that, I am saying. But normally, what we know is that if we have a lower old threshold low VT cells, it will be having a higher subthreshold drain current, which means what, it my leakage power is going to increase, which is not good for my design. So what I will do, I will restrict the usage of if I let the tool to use all the VT variations, it will use whichever is good for timing. Okay, my use all the faster cells and somehow it will converge the design. Okay, so I'm what I'm going there will be options to block the type of cells. So there only I'm going to sell. Don't only use this much percentage of ultra low voltage cells. Use this standard regular VT cells like that. I can set the percentage in the beginning itself, so that I can reduce the leakage power. And yeah, this is. By providing the scan input, this thing, okay, with this we can explain. Say for example, when the synthesis is done, right, this DFT team will be getting all the scannable flop details, and they will be doing a scan stitching like this. At that time they don't know, okay, this where the placement tool is going to place this flop, that details and all they don't know. They will just stitch the scan chain for the DFT purpose, and they'll give. But when it comes to the placement, what will happen, the tool will place it in a timing better position. Okay, if this flop is placed here only, then it is going to converge my timing, then the tool will place here, or we will be giving some constraints and placing it this way. If that time, if we still follow this scan chain ordering, what will happen, unnecessarily we are utilizing so much of routing resource. So if we give this scan input to the tool before placement, and if we tell the tool to reorder the scan chain, it will take into effect the scan stitching also, and with respect to the placement, and proper placement of the scan chains will happen. This will unnecessarily reduce the effects due to congestion, routing resource, everything. And yeah, sometimes we can also give the scan-def input before the play stage. So the optimization will happen for each mode, like test mode, functional mode, like that. Where in the scan mode, it is liberal. It will not be having much a higher frequency. So it can be optimized with less importance. Okay. So if we give the scan detail to the tool will understand, okay, these are the scan related parts. Let me unnecessarily not waste time on that and focus on the functional part, like that. Like that also, there are it has improved. It will improve, yeah, improve our timing in the functional part. Okay. Yeah, this is placement blockage. This is what I have mentioned before itself. When the near the input, if I don't want too many cells to be placed, I'm going to put a blockage there until only place some 50% of the cells here, like that. In that blockage also we are having types. Hard blockage will not at all place anything. Partial will allow certain percentage of cells to be placed. Whereas the soft blockage means it won't allow any X or AND or anything. But during this optimization, it will allow the buffers. Only certain types of cells it will allow. Uh, I think I said before, like it need not be the place near the port. It can be anywhere where you want to restrict the placement of cells. You can make use of this blockages. That will help to avoid clustering of all the standard cells in one particular area. Okay. So yeah. So still, these are some things. Floor plan. There are tools to do the floor plan. Okay, to place all the macros and whatever floor plan rules we have studied. Uh, that there are options to do it automatically, but still we need the manual intervention to place as per the hierarchy, or to get a better floor plan. Manual interventions are needed. If we can try on to do a in a fully automated way, we can try for those options. And yeah, while doing synthesis itself, we can make it do a physical aware synthesis, like uh, okay, this is how my placement is going to be. So you optimize your logic like that, like that. If we instruct in the synthesis tool itself, then we'll get a better gate level netlist, and it will reduce our time at the reduce our work at the PNR stage. I mean, these are certain stuffs which are already they are implementing, but which may need further improvements also. These are the standard models which are followed, but further improvements also can be done on these steps. What I am telling. So in the layout stage, after CTS, and when we go for routing optimization, right? What though the PNR tool reports the timing, the exact sign of timing we can get by doing an extract spef extraction and running it in the timing sign off tool. So what is the option they have tried? Why not call my timing sign off tool when I'm doing route optimization itself, so that the tool will do a better work in the route stage itself. Normally, what will happen? Route stage will complete the timing. Then we will dump this specs. I mean, extract the RC values and then give it to the timing sign off tool. Then we run it there. Okay, we'll see the outputs. Then we'll come back and do the corrections in layout. Then again we go back there. So instead of doing that, uh, we are calling the sign off tool in the placement stage itself. Yeah, that's all. I think I have taken extra 6 minutes of the time. So normally all these tools are using Tickle scripting only. So it's good if we have a good knowledge on Tickle, Perl, and Python scripts. It will be helpful. If we want to try some small modifications also in the standard flow, if we are well versing in this kind of scripts, then it is good. Yeah, that's all. I mean, I think I covered whatever I wanted to say. Yeah, Ilan, go on, sir.
Participants, you have any doubt, you can ask your doubt. There is no more doubt.
Okay. Okay. I hope. Yes.
Any doubts? No doubt.
I'm not. Okay.
Okay,
I,
Bhavya, thanks for your
I think hope everyone understood something from what I have told. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Langon. Thanks for
yeah,
this
thanks for
opportunity.
sharing your experience, Bhavya. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks again.
I think my screen is visible. Can anyone respond?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So thank you. Yeah, here I start the basic of cadence, and I regret for that. I am changing a little bit of our schedule because of getting some means industry input only. I invited Ms. Bhavya. Anyhow, we'll proceed with the cadence. Yeah, after completing your installation, let me start from the beginning. For the beginners, this cadence. Here, what I'll do, how to make a schematic and how to find the power of the cell and finding delay and how to create a symbol. All these basic things I'll explain you. So when you are starting, you have to go for this file. Here it is new. Suppose I'm making a new library. Let's take my library is FDP. Okay. This library I'm attaching with my 19 nanometer technology, attaching existing technology library. Apply. So with the 19 nanometer technology, I'm adding. See, audience, you have any doubt, then and there you can ask. So, okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, for installation of RAR file, it is asking about password. So which password we have to write?
Madam, no, there is a no, there is a one video, right?
Okay.
Have you seen the video? There itself, they will say what password we can use all the things. I think
Okay,
it
sir.
is
Okay,
code
sir. I
only.
will see that. Okay, okay.
Huh?
YouTube video that you
Okay,
have
fine.
seen sent to us.
Yeah. Have
Okay.
you gone through the video? There it will all the things it is available.
Okay.
Let me start from this point or installation.
Okay. 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 Thank you, sir.
Okay, yes, thank you, ma'am. You are if you are finding any difficulty, definitely you can call or you can message.
Okay. Okay. No problem.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Yeah. So after adding this FDP, so after this, our library is ready. Now you can go for our schematic. For that, here you can go new cell view. There, what is the library we created? There I'm making myself. Suppose I am making inverter. My inverter cell, it is a schematic. Okay. So this is the platform where I'm going to make my schematic. Directly, I'm saying the shortcut or what is the binder key we can use for installation. Sorry, for instantiation, you can use I. If you are pressing I, this portion will come. You can find your MOSFETs here. You can find your MOSFETs here. No, MOSFETs it is available here. Here in your GPTK 90. So there I'm using this N MOSFET, my symbol. I'm not changing anything. You can, if you want, you can change your width, length, all the values here. I'm not changing anything. Just I'm using the same value. So height. So I'm placing my N MOSFET here. Next, instantiation, bind key is I. So instead of going browse, here itself you can change. If you are changing P, you can find your P MOSFET. Yeah, here my P MOSFET is ready. So hide. So P MOSFET. So I'm placing my P MOSFET. For zooming, the bind key is square bracket. You can use the square bracket for zooming. So W is bind key for wire. W. So I'm making the connection. Here the source of PMOS is connected with, substrate of PMOS is connected with source, and substrate of NMOS is connected with its source. Means the potential of both terminals should be same. Next, again instantiation. I'm going to instantiate my VDD, my VDC, all the values I'm going to take that we can find here in the analog library. Analog library. There you can type here or you can search here VDD. If you are using VDD, yeah, the symbol is coming. Similarly, you can find key ground also. Again, ground, GND, ground. So my ground is here. So I'm making my ground here, and one more ground for the input signal, and another ground for VDD is already available. Is my voice is okay? Am I audible? My screen is visible, right? Is my screen
yes,
okay?
sir, visible, sir, and
yeah.
audible.
If anyone doing hands-on, like you, if you are using your system, you can ask the question then and there. Otherwise, I'm proceeding. Okay. So instantiate. I'm going for browse my. Like here also instead of ground, you can directly write it is a BDC. I'm taking a DC supply. So DC supply, we have to choose only the supply voltage. For 19 nanometer technology, the supply voltage is 1.2 voltage. So only DC voltage high. So that I'm replacing here. Next, just I'm connecting this down to this. Next, for the purpose I'm taking this wire here. And similarly, I'm going to take input as a bit, means continuous bit value. If you want, you can use as a single bit, or you can use pulse value. Either thing you can take. Here I'm using my bit value. So for that, I'm using here V bit. So yeah, instantiate V bit. Here, what is the pattern I'm going to use? 1010 I'm going to use. So 1010. What is my one value? It's VDD. We know that, right? So 1.2 voltage. What is the 0? It is 0 voltage. And I'm choosing my delay as 0. If you want, as per your paper or anything else, you can choose your delay. Rise time, my choice is 0.01 nano. And fall also 0.01 nano. The period I'm choosing, suppose 10 nano seconds I'm choosing. Okay, after choosing all the values, you can hide. You can place this input here. And similarly, using wire, I'm making the connection here. So my input is ready. Now I'm connecting my supply here, means VDD wire. Here, wire is ready. So next, for seeing the output, I'm taking the port. For port, the bind key is P. We can use P. So first I'm taking input port. For that I'm choosing input high, which I'm placing here. Rotation, R is the bind key. We can use R, otherwise you can use here. This is also for rotation. Okay, better I use rotation. It is my rotation. I'm using R. Okay, so I'm placing here. Next, I am taking my output port. So suppose I am saying it is out. I'm choosing the option out. So again, I am hiding this. I'm placing my output port here. So wire. I'm making a connection for wire. Escape wire. So now my inverter circuit is ready. My schematic is ready. For checking its my connection is ready or not, we can use here check and save. Yeah, it's showing some error. Let me see what is the warning showing. There's something here. Let me delete. Yeah, I deleted that. So again, check and save. It's okay. Now it's not showing any error or warning. Okay. So suppose, for example, intentionally I'm making one error and I'm seeing this warning. It show there is two warning. It will blink like this yellow color. Okay. So we could understand there is a error. So escape. After completion of all this, after checking all these things, now next what we want to do, first thing, check the functionality. You can go for launch ADL. It is an analog design environment where you can keep all the constraints. So suppose I'm doing the analysis, choose the analysis. If you want to go for analog, AC analysis or DC analysis, transient analysis, that you can choose here. I'm suppose doing my transient analysis, which I'm taking for 40 nanoseconds. I'm taking this accuracy difficulty moderate. I'm taking. You can choose as per your wish. So apply. So okay. Next, for plot the output, you have to go for to be plotted. What are the things you want to plot? Select on schematic. Either you can click here for selecting that. I want to see for checking the functionality. We need the output of our waveform of your input and output, right? So either you can choose here. Yeah, it's selected. Otherwise, you can choose here also. So let's check. Yeah, all the values it comes here. For especially for the people, those who are all doing the power analysis, it is very important. You have to go for this for checking the getting power values, outputs, save all. For calculating the power, you have to save all. Here you have to choose all, and then you can. Okay. Now it's ready. Now I'm running my simulation. Yeah. So this is our output waveform. You can see here you can split the waveforms. So what I applied the input 1, 0, 1, 0. Why I kept the for 40 nanoseconds for running time, I mean transient time. Each bit it's occupying 10 nanoseconds. That's why. Okay. So this is my input and the opposite output I am getting. You can see, right? If you have any doubt, please ask your doubt. Otherwise, I'll proceed. Either you can put the chat box, otherwise you can unmute your mic, you can ask. Else I'll proceed.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
If possible, please record and share it, sir. It is very important session now.
I'm doing. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much, sir.
It is recording. Yeah, thank you so much. So what next? So let me see what is the power it's consuming. We all know that it is a dynamic it is switching operation which takes place, right? So where we can see the power, you can go here, file, open result. You can open this PSF. Here you can see tran. When you double click the tran, there you can see power. See, it is showing all the power values of, see, for a N MOSFET, how much power it's consuming, for P MOSFET, how the power is varying, all you can see. I'm taking the overall power consumption. You can double click here. So this waveform coming here, I am splitting this waveform. This is your power. So what is the actual power it's coming? For finding that, click on the waveform, right click, send to calculator. Send to calculator. So for this, you'll get, if I just, yeah, you can see, if I just evaluate this value, you can see power for all the time duration. For your NPL, 40 nanoseconds. Rather than that, most of the time we need only the average power. For getting the average power, here you can go for function, click on function. It is showing all the functions. There you can click on average. When you click the average, it is taking the average of your power value. Now again, I'm evaluating the value. So here you can see this is the average power the circuit is consuming for this switching action, 56.24 nanowatts. So this is how you can calculate the power. Similarly, for finding delay, let me explain how to finding delay. It is very simple to find the delay in Cadence. You take the same function. Now, suppose I need the delay between my input to output, which means propagation delay. How much time taken for the input reaching the output? So propagation delay. For that, you can go for the function. Again, you click on the function. Yeah, your function is here. There you can find the term delay. So choose delay. Now, from where to where you want the delay? From signal 1 to signal 2 I need. What is my signal 1? Let me take signal 1 is my input. Signal 2 is my output. So click on signal 1. Go to your waveform. Where is your waveform is present? Yeah, here. So click on function 1 means your input 1. So here it comes. Just a minute. Let me check once. Function, yeah. Here, click on the function 1 and the waveform where we have a waveform. Yeah, click on the waveform. Select this waveform. Yeah. Or otherwise, I close here. I close the calculator. Again, some technique. Yeah, here I'm choosing the function. What is my function is? My first function, my input. So take the input. Here it is. Let me check my function to suppose I'm taking. Function to is my node 2 that I'm choosing. Yeah, we can do one thing. What we can do, we can select and we can paste here. Already I had this open now.
Copy paste, sir, in buffer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But usually directly we can do. Just now I tried. I got the answer, but now it's not coming anyhow. So first,
Expression available in buffer now.
here it is. Here it is. So my first function, suppose delete my first function I'm choosing. Sir, are you saying here it is? Rather than directly we can choose from the waveform, I know. Okay, so here you can take products that I'm placing here. Similarly, for the output, if you are choosing, suppose, yeah, output, yeah. So it is coming now, function. Embed it here. You can choose. So output is here. We can select the output here. So we see the function. So I cut from here Control X. Control V. Yeah. So what is the delay I'm going to measure? The delay from, suppose here delay I'm going to measure from falling edge. You have to choose exact falling and rising edges. So I'm going to choose this falling of my input and raising of output. First falling of my input and the first falling of my output. You can choose anything, either first falling, second rising, sorry, first rising or second falling. Your wish. Here I'm choosing this fellow. My first falling of input, first rising of output. So here I'm going to the function. So see here. So here you can see. This one. And then, so here you can see, yeah. So here the threshold voltage, you can see the threshold voltage. It is for this hour, actually it is 50% of your VDD that is chosen. And here it is for the input one, first we are taking first falling of my input signal, first raising of our output signal. Yeah, it's correct. Applied. So once you apply this value that you can see here. Yeah, here it is. So now I evaluate the delay. So the delay is 7.9 picoseconds. This is how you can make the, or you can find the delay. If you have any doubt, please ask your doubt. Otherwise, I'll go for how to make the symbol. So we discussed about how to make our simple CMOS inverter and how to finding delay of that and how to finding the power of that. No queries, right?
Sir, can you please repeat the step how to find it out the delay?
Delay, yes, sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, sir.
Here, you have to go for function. There you can find the term delay. Choose that. So when you are choosing that, you can see this there. That means that the delay panel is coming. There you can see from where to where you want the delay. From signal 1 to 2 means from input to output. You choose on signal 1. What is my signal 1? My input. There you can click. When you click here, it is coming here. Copy from there or cut from there. You can choose. You can place here. Similarly, we are choosing the second, my output. We are placing the output. Where is your doubts are here? Here in your threshold voltage, is it your doubt or general for entire thing? So after that, you have to fix your threshold voltage based on your technology. And then you have to choose from where to where you want the delay in the waveform. See, here you have delay. Suppose I'm making the delay from this line to my first falling edge of my input to first rising edge of my output. Or otherwise you can choose the delay from first falling edge of input, first falling of output also you can choose, your wish. Or you can choose first rising of input, first falling of output. Either thing you can choose. That is numbered here. That you can see here. The one is which one you are choosing, first, second, third. This one is either falling edge or rising edge, or either you can choose. Okay. So after applying all these things, you click on apply. So now go to the function. So here it is coming to the buffer. So your calculation is ready. Just click on the evaluate. Yeah, it's coming. Is it okay,
Okay.
sir?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you are always welcome. So let me explain how to make the symbol for your any circuit. Audience, if you are interested, I'll open the 60 SRAM cell, which you have discussed, morning madam discussed, no? That also you can see the functionality.
Excuse me,
If you are
sir.
interested, yes, sir.
So suppose I want to calculate power between certain time duration, time zone. Suppose
Sure.
T1 to T2. Power consumption between a certain time duration, that is T1
Yeah.
to T2. So say
Okay.
for rise time that or fall time, that the duration
Ah.
between the. So only that power dissipation for that duration.
Yeah, you can see, sir. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, let me explain here. Yeah, thanks for your question, sir. Yeah, here, see, after simulation. Yeah, here. But I'm sorry to say that I don't know how to take that value alone. But you can see here. Or otherwise, you can do one thing. Just make it into calculator. Send to calculator. Calculator. So just evaluate this. Yeah, you see here. Just I'm trying. Sorry if I am not exactly getting. Sir, from where to where you want the power, sir? From
From
time
T1
period to from 10 to suppose 10 to 20. Can we take
yeah.
this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 10 to 20.
Okay.
In calculator, you choose only that time period.
From this
Yes,
table.
sir?
From this table.
Yeah, from the table.
Okay. Okay, sir.
You
Thank
take
you.
only that value
Yes.
and remove all the
And take
values.
its
You
average.
take the average of that value. Yes,
Okay.
sir?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will take then average it. Okay. Okay. Sir. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for your question, sir. Is it okay? Shall we go for the symbol creation? So for any question, or I'll go for the symbol creation. Suppose I want to make a symbol of the same inverter. Let me remove all the sources. For your source, you need not to keep, for a symbol, you need not to keep your source. So I'm deleting my sources. Suppose the optimized symbol, I'm deleting all these things. Delete. So ground also I'm deleting. This portion. Then you can delete like this. It's over. So just I'm taking only all my ports. Just I'm inserting my input by using port, input port, and VDD as a port, ground as a port. Otherwise you can say it is instead of ground, you can use VSS also. In some cases, you can use VSS, hide all the things, and sorry, I taken as a output, but it should be an input in VDD VSS. Yeah, everything is ready. It should be input. So hide that value. Here you can choose input, rotate. There you can place your VDD. Again rotation. Output. So your thing is ready. Your schematic is ready for symbol. So go to create cell view. From cell view, you have to choose. There it is asking what is the name you are going to keep. Suppose inverter symbol I'm saying. symbol I'm saying. Okay. Yeah, it's coming here. Yeah, after you are making your symbol, see, it will be asked, where should I keep the pin? Suppose I need my input at left side and output at right side, and top pin, suppose I'm choosing VDD, and the bottom pin is my VSS. This based on your wish. Sorry, just a minute. Create cell view from cell view. Okay. Here. Yes. Here it is. X. Control V. Yeah, everything is ready. Just you make OK. You apply OK. Here you can see the symbol. So for the symbol, you don't want this. Actually, for inverter, suppose I am going to make a symbol like inverter. I'm removing all this fellow. I don't want this instant name. Suppose port name. You want, you can use the port name. Otherwise, remove it. This is my input. I'm keeping here, and my VDD I'm keeping here, and the VSS I'm keeping here, and V out. Suppose I'm keeping here, and use this line for making your symbol. As your wish, you can make your symbol. So yeah. So just we all know the symbol of your inverter, right? So I'm making symbol like a triangular with a circle. Same symbol I'm using. Yeah, let it be. While you are doing, please do it perfectly. It's not a perfect symbol. Just I'm. Yeah, it's ready. So you can save this. It's okay. Or suppose I'm saying, let me, yeah, let me close this, and this also I'm closing. I'm saving this. I mean, suppose I am making a new cell. Suppose I want a buffer. Let's take it as a buffer. Buffer on ready. Suppose you want the symbol which we made. So what is our library name? It is FTP, right? There you can see, yeah, your symbol is here. I think you can see. Okay. So back to cascade inverter that's act as a buffer, we know. So I'm connecting the wire. So suppose I'm connecting both VDDs, and I'll make it as a single VDD. And similarly, we can use this both VSS as a single VSS, means ground. So instantiate, I'm instantiating my grounds. All I need, my VDD and VDD, and suppose I'm taking my VDC, this one VDC. DC. Yeah, it is here. My DC value I'm choosing again 1.2 voltage. Go ahead for this. And substantiate my ground value I'm taking. Ground means ground symbol I'm taking. Ground. The ground is ready. Here it's ground or VSS. Or I'm taking one more ground for input. And a V bit. I'm choosing my V bit. Yeah, it is coming. Suppose I'm taking 1010 and my 1 is 1.2 voltage, my 0 is 0 voltage, and my delay time I'm choosing 0, my rise time 0.01 nano, and my fall time it is 0.01 nano, and my period suppose again I'm taking 10 nanoseconds. Here it is, I'm hiding here. I'm hiding this value. Yeah, hiding this value. So placing this in here. Okay, wire. By wire I'm connecting my input. And then I'm making my port. I'm connecting my port. My input port, suppose I'm taking it in, hide, rotate, connect. And my output port I'm taking out, because it is out, hide. Yeah, everything is okay. So let me connect this VDC. Yeah, it's ready. So let me check the circuit, whether any error or warning is available. It's showing warning. So someone is unmuted your mute your mic, please. Yeah, it's now it is okay. I think. I'm going to launch in my ADL. So here we can do the same analysis, transient analysis. What in nano? What in nano? Moderate value I'm choosing. Moderate value I'm choosing. Apply. Okay. So I'm going to see my output. Plot. Select schematic. Input and the output. These values I'm taking. Sir, sir, please unmute yourself, sir. Sir, unmute your mic, sir. You can use U for undo. You can use U for undo. So let me check once again. Maybe. So output's coming here. I delete this. So I chosen all the values. Let me try it once. Tutorial. Analysis. Analysis. Controls win and out. Let me check whether notes facing. Yeah, now it's coming. So you can do this. I'm running this. Let me check on whether I have any error. Netlist fail due to errors. Reported netlist will be corrected. Wait, I'll check once again. Suppose I close this. Let me choose a file. Cell view. I'm saying it is the buffer 2. Okay. Instantiate. I have a symbol in mind. Let me use that symbol. Here I have the symbol. Let me try to use this symbol. So I'm using this wire. We can use F for fit for wire. From here to here. Instantiate. Instantiating browse an unlock library. I'm taking UDD. Instantiate UDC. DC voltage 1.2 volt I'm taking. Next here. Instantiate. Ground value. So I'm taking the ground symbol. Now we can go. I'm choosing I'm sorry, connecting this.
अभिषेक पांडे भी सेल का है, प्रेरणा भी
Port. Port value I'm choosing in as a input port.
क्योंकि आपका 1% आपका 8 नंबर का बैठता है,
Let me first of all, just a minute. I'll mute this fellow. So here you can use wire. Sorry, instantiate my VDC V bit. Suppose I'm taking 1010. For 1 is it is 1.2. For 0 it is 0. And delay time I'm taking 0. For rise time 0.01 nano. For fall time is 0.01 nano. And the period I'm taking is 10 nano. So everything is okay. I'm hiding this. I'm keeping the source here. Escape. I'm connecting wire here. That's okay. Escape. Now port I'm taking my input and output port. Input I'm saying in I. Escape. My port must be input as well. Is the input port. So input I rotate. Connecting here. Similarly, what is my output port? It is split. Port out. What is that? Output port. I am connecting here. Escape. Using wire, I'm connecting this here. So my circuit is okay. Let me check it whether there is any error or not. Okay. So launch ADL. So I'm launching my ADL. Launch ADL.
क्लियर हो गया ना अब उसको मतलब फर्स्ट तो कर लेना
Right, it shows some error. Nil is not a valid simulator name. Ensure simulator name is spelled correctly. So here I can say this is how you can make your circuit by calling the symbol. Okay, let me correct this error and I'll explain later. Suppose possibly tomorrow.
Sir, that
Again,
1.2
yes.
volts. 1.2 volts,
Which one?
that should not be connected. It is attached to that line. Drag it down.
Here one. This
Ah,
one you're saying.
and
It's connected only.
connected, but that is these two lines are touching. Just drag it down. That one, upper one, 1.2 VDC. To drag it down. Just bit drag it down.
This one you're saying.
No, upper one, VDC. Those one is selected, no, sir.
This
That
one?
one.
Yeah.
Drag it down. Down. Not like that.
But
if it is touched, those two lines are touched. If you click on that, that VDC, so that line is touching to that other one line, which is go from here.
Which one?
This line.
This one.
Upper one.
This one you are saying. This one.
That should not be touched. For some time it will show error with those two are touched.
But I don't think so, ma'am. It should have shown error here itself, no? For that. Oh. Okay, let me
And
check.
then
whether
what
it's
is
working.
this one, sir? I think this input pin is floating.
No,
V1.
now it's working. Which one? No?
Okay. V1. After the V1, we have an input pin that is 0.5.
This one.
About, here, before that.
Here?
Above that one pin, we can
This
see
one?
that.
In it is.
In.
Should be.
Wire is not looking properly. Yeah, from here it is looking just floating.
But it's connected.
No, sir. I think it is correct. But one thing I just add note I want to add. So the VDD, the point which you have added, I think that should not be added because you have already added the DC voltage, DC source you have added.
This
So
one you are saying?
Yes, sir. You just remove that one and resimulate. I think that would
No,
be simulated.
Sir. For VDD, we required, for inverter, we required VDD only. VDD, we required.
Then you have just, where is this value? There it is there. Okay. No change was made, no objects updated. Or otherwise, I'll stop the class here, and tomorrow I'll verify and I'll again afternoon session I'll explain what is the error, or otherwise I'll let you know.
Okay, sir.
Yes. So what happened? Let me check. I'll let you know. So here I hope that you got some idea about how to work in Cadence. I expected it would be completed, but I'll complete it tomorrow. Thank you. Any question? You can ask the question. Or we will know.
Sir, regarding
Yes, sir.
regarding this cadence, I think there are lots of other analyses are there. So it is my humble request, if you have some material related to this cadence, that means various types of analysis. That means some advanced analysis means Monte Carlo, THD analysis, noise analysis. So this type of analysis, what are the steps? If you have some material, then please share with us. So that would be beneficial to all.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. The basic things I have, I don't know whether it will be covered Monte Carlo and all. Okay, but basic material I have. Let me share with you. Maybe it will be helpful for you. Yeah.
Sure,
what
sure,
I have,
sure.
definitely I'll share it.
Sir, are you going to teach us power analysis with this?
For what?
Of this power analysis.
No, power analysis in Cadence or elsewhere?
Cadence.